Hi guys, this is Imran from Options Insight. Due to the incredible interest that I've had from people asking me about crypto options, once I've told them I've become active in the space, I thought it made sense to start making videos about crypto and crypto options specifically. Now, I'm not a blockchain or crypto expert, but what I am is an options expert. And since June, I've been trading Bitcoin and Ethereum options with my own cash, and I've managed to 5x it. I've also managed to do that in a way where my risk was super controlled and I wasn't going to lose a hell of a load of money. So the idea of these videos in this new series, which I'm going to call Crypto Insight, is to talk you guys through some of the strategies and ways that I'm trading crypto options and taking advantage of my knowledge of trading volatility, term structure, skew, and being able to manipulate those positions to give myself some edge and give myself some advantage in the way that I express my views to participate in these crazy wild swings that crypto markets can have. Being a vol trader, I'll tell you now, the most exciting and the most fun assets to trade, volatility, are the ones that know how to move. And right now, there's no other asset class that knows how to move like crypto. So with that, I hope you enjoy this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you like this content, and feel free to sign up for a free trial to Macro Insight, where you'll get this type of content. You'll also get other asset classes and you'll get live Q&A. So let's talk crypto. So what's been going on in Bitcoin? So if we look at the chart in Bitcoin, zoom in a bit there. So a couple of weekends ago, we'd reached that kind of area around 42, 43, bounced nicely off there. Then we kind of consolidated. This time round, we didn't manage to get below that 45 area. And we've staged a nice rally back towards where we are now, which is 54,000. So news-wise, I suppose probably the most interesting thing that's happened over the last day or so is India. So India had said they were going to ban crypto, and now they've backtracked on it, right? So that's quite good news. That suggests, you kind of see that, right? You see a lot of countries try to say that they're not pro crypto and stuff, and talk about banning it and making it hard for their citizens to get involved. And then all that happens is everyone in that country just piles into Bitcoin and does whatever they can. Like Nigeria did something similar, and then Bitcoin was trading at a 30% premium in Nigeria. Yeah, so I think people have realized that they can't really fight it that easily. And they're almost fueling people's desire to move away from their local currencies into Bitcoin if they try to ban it. Yeah. So what they've realized is part of the movement and part of the reason why people are getting into Bitcoin is that they are starting to have more trust in that monetary system than the fiat monetary system, right? But when you try to ban that, what's that going to do for the trust? Is that going to make you trust your government more that they're banning you? Or is it going to make you trust your government less, right? So I think that's what they've got to realize is like the more they try and ban shit, the more people are going to trust them less, and they're going to trust Bitcoin more, and they're going to try and move towards that and adopt that more, right? So I think that's what we're seeing, right? So that's my kind of take on it, and why I think that has kind of happened with India, and is probably likely to happen with a lot of countries who say they're gonna ban that stuff. So anyway, so price action wise, chart does look pretty healthy, right? We had a nice correction into those key support zones. We've bounced off it, we've consolidated, and we're heading higher again. The big key level to break is around that 58.5 area, to take out the highs, and then we're off to the races, right? I don't really know where your targets need to be. Kind of obvious target was 60K, but I mean, that seems very realistic very soon. We could basically have a look at some of the option activity in Bitcoin to see where the open interest lies. So if we have a look here, so maturity wise, what maturities will people be using? Well, I guess March is getting a bit short dated now, but we can have a look at it. So end of March, if we sort of, all right, so you should be able to see that. maximize it. So what have we got going on here? So call option wise, we've got a fair amount of open interest on the 64s all the way up, really, right? You've even got some 100,000s in March, which are a bit surprising. I mean, I don't think they're very likely to pay out. But generally, like, you got a couple of strikes here at 64, 72, and 80. So all of those are pretty much in play still. If we move to April expiry, I mean, me personally, if I was buying call options on Bitcoin, I probably wouldn't go as short dated as March right now. So, I mean, there's a big old 120 strike, is it? Yeah, 120 strikes massive in April there, and that's got 2,000 options open there, and then you've got the 80,000 in April as well. Okay, so it gives you a feel for where the options activity is and maybe potential targets that people are looking at. I think 80,000 by April probably sounds feasible as a bit of a realistic target there. If this next leg has really begun, I think certainly 80,000 by April is quite realistic. By March, I think it's probably unlikely. I think probably more by March expiry, which is what, end of March, maybe something like 65,000 is a more realistic target. And then if we have a look at Ethereum, now that had been a bit in the doldrums, right? I've been talking about maybe diversifying out of some of that last week into things like Cardano and Polkadot, which I really don't understand those things, but I need to learn more about. I hadn't done it yet. I still haven't done it because I still don't understand them. So I need to do a bit more work and research in there. But in the meantime, Ether's bounced quite nicely. So it also kind of consolidated and found a level at around that 1300 area, staged the bounce, and then when it took out this kind of 1650 area, it accelerated. Now there has been some news. So there's an update in the protocol of Ethereum that's coming out in July, August, which is going to help reduce some of these high prices for transaction fees. These are also known as gas fees, right? So when you're doing transactions on the Ethereum network, you're paying some fees every time you transact, and the pricing of those fees can be quite volatile and quite expensive at times, right? So that's been a problem and something that's been pushing people away from Ethereum, or what they've been complaining about, basically. But they seem to have put in an update which was going to resolve that. Okay, and that's called an EIP 1559 update. Yeah, and that is basically that's what the market's getting bullish about right now. Yeah. So that's one of the things driving the Ethereum uplift. Now, if you look at the spread, you can see the spread was looking horrible, but it managed to kind of bounce twice off this 0.03 level, which was a key sort of psychological area, but it's bounced quite nicely off that, right? So now we've got back up to the sort of mid 03s. Whether or not we're going to head back towards those highs, I have no clue and no real opinion on. But it's nice to see that bounce off 0.03 and to see the kind of trend in this spread to just stabilize, because it was looking pretty ominous for Ethereum a couple of weeks back, basically, the way that price action was forming. Whereas now it's had a little bit of a catch-up move and kind of shown a bit of resilience, and it's got some positive news flow on the back of it, basically. So those are encouraging signs. In terms of the vol, if we have a look, I think the vol had been hit quite a bit in Ethereum. So let's have a look at the Bitcoin levels. The Bitcoin at the money vol is, if we look at March, is probably around 96. Okay, so the super short dated stuff is collapsed, but the stuff that people generally will use to express their views, you've got April at 96, 97, and you've got March at low to mid 90s for Bitcoin in terms of vol. If we look at Ethereum, same sort of expiries are coming in 100 and 110, right? So there you go. So you've got like 95 to about 105 average. So, you've got about a 10 vol premium in Ethereum relative to Bitcoin, which is quite cheap actually for Ethereum, right? So as Ethereum generally goes, it trades 20 vols and above more than Bitcoin, whereas it seems like that spread has kind of come down a bit. Yeah. In terms of the activity in Ethereum, there's been some call buying going on there as well. So if we bring up the open interest, March, some big calls being bought there in the 2,500 area for March, and then April. Well, it's quite uniform. Like there's quite a lot of calls everywhere, but there seems to be a bit of a peak around that sort of 2880 area, right? So people playing that 25 to 3,000 area in the next month or two in Ethereum as the bullish play in options.